What's up, guys? It's your boy James, aka 68J, and I'm here with my brother, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Edo Farina's in the house. What's up, brother?
Doing phenomenal. Welcome everyone. We're gonna have a very interesting XRP talk. Long time we don't go live, me and James together. Hopefully from now we're gonna do this more consistent. How are you doing today, brother?
Man, I tell you what, one of the greatest highlights of the XRP Las Vegas event was finally seeing you in person. You know, it's crazy. We've connected, we've talked, we've done streams together. We've done streams with Versan. I've done streams with King Karan. And when you guys walked in, man, it was nuts because we had talked about for so many years. You invited me where you were at, different events, and you guys came halfway across the world, man. I was just flattered and honored and excited to see my little brother Edo and King Karan, man. It was amazing. It was amazing.
It was amazing to join the after party that was organized by you. The best part is I did the video of the yachting party on the entrance there, the one that went viral. So I remind you guys, when XRP hits $10, we're gonna see you in Greece for the yachting party. And well, there are so many topics we can talk today. I see that one thing that is really getting my attention is to see Brad Garlinghouse very active on X. He's reacting to a lot of posts. He's commenting. He's going very funny mode. I think that's a very bullish sign. What do you think about that, James?
No, I agree with you. I think it's very bullish to see Brad interact with so many comments. Somebody had made a comment on X when they were saying they believe this thing is over and we're moving forward. And then Brad commented on that person's comment saying, "You're absolutely right." I was like, whoa. So, and then the next day they dropped the appeal. Your thoughts on, the fact that, and I know we talked about a little bit about this backstage, the fact that Judge Annalisa Torres for the second time has denied the settlement. Now, I don't think she's doing it because she doesn't want to see justice. I think she's doing it, and I want your opinion, because I think the SEC put that judge and Ripple through a lot of crap for almost 4 years. And she's like, no, I'm not going to make this easy for you because you didn't make it easy for Ripple or for myself to come to the conclusion she did. What's your thoughts on that, Edo?
Well, she definitely wants to play by the rules, to follow the procedures very strictly. Now, my thoughts is that I think that it's just a matter of timing. I think perhaps the United States is not ready yet for the resolution. I know that's changing now with the last revelation from Brad Garlinghouse, but I think this whole SEC lawsuit, and anyone that follows my work, you probably know that I have said from day one that number one, XRP is not a security. We now know that that's the reality. And number two is that the United States was behind in terms of regulation. So if you compare the regulatory framework for digital assets from America to Europe, you will find out that the United States is very behind. It doesn't mean that it will be like that forever, but I think the stage wasn't ready yet, and that's exactly what we have seen developing in the last years, because this thing is going forever, right? It feels an eternity. Some of us are starting to have gray hairs. Not my case yet, but I heard some people in the community that the whole time frame, they really changed the hair color, actually aged the hair, but that's a funny way to see things. However, if you look Europe has the whole framework for digital assets. We call it MiCA regulation, and that's already in place for years already. And the United States was not mature enough, and that's why I think they had this timing thing that they wanted to carry this thing longer than expected so that they could get the regulatory framework in place. That's how I see it. I don't think, well, the lawsuit right now doesn't have anything to do with XRP itself anymore. It's more about the Ripple and the injunction that will enable, if they lift the injunction, that Ripple will be finally able to sell directly to the financial institutions, but that's not something regards XRP being a security or not. So I think we are at the lights. We are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I would argue that we are 95% done. How do you see that, James?
No, I agree with you. And, it's a little bit.
By the way, let me, just before we get started, let me address. There is a comment that someone says, I am a scammer because I scammed them in 6 £1,000 yesterday. You have to understand it's an impersonator. Someone
Yeah.
felt for a scam. Uh, that's 100% chance that this person was talking to a fake profile of mine. I don't know details. So I highly recommend this person. It's called J something. Reach the local authorities. I guess you are in the UK, and file a police report, because this is happening over and over again. And I tell this for my audience: don't send crypto to anyone pretending to be myself. I think that's also happens with you, James. That
Yeah,
being
no,
said,
I've got 8, I think 7 or 8 different fake 68Js. I've reported, Edo, you know, here, I want to say this based off what you said. Number one is X doesn't make it easy for me and you to report this. Like, they put you through so much just to report it. Like, I've got to get my ID. I've got to go through all this stuff. And that's just for one scammer. So there's so many of them. It would take so much of our time trying to do that over and over
it
and over
would
again.
become a full-time job. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Especially when you manage multiple social medias. Imagine I have Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, and if each social media has 10 different profiles on a weekly basis, fake ones, it's impossible to report all of them, unfortunately. So as much as, yes, I feel sorry for your loss, Jay, have in mind, you have to be more careful.
Yes.
Verify the identity before sending any funds, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You know, and people need to realize that. Like, there's a guy named, I think is Wolf of All Streets, I believe is his name, and he said that someone used his. Not only did they use his account, Edo, they copied his license, they copied his social media, they got his wife and children's information, so they created a page that was it looked so authentic that they could even verify his ID, and they scammed somebody for $4 million. Like a group of people for $4 million. This is Wolf of All Street. He had it all over his X account saying, look, I'm sorry, but it's not me. Call the local authority. So, you know, what Edo is saying is absolutely facts. It's happening to everyone. You guys have to be, number one, check and make sure. You guys know that Edo, Farina, myself, and others are verified. Check the blue verification. And then also know that we would never ask anybody for money. We're here to help. We're not here to ask for anything in return. So you got to just take a few steps to make sure that you protect yourself. I agree.
Yeah, he's still insisting that I contacted him to send XRP to the airdrop.
Yeah.
That's not true. I highly recommend him to check which profile he was talking to, and he will realize that it's a fake profile. I don't know if it's YouTube channel, X account, I don't know which social media, but anyways. Yeah. So what do you think about it, James?
In regards to yeah, so I mean, look, it's a little bit frustrating. I know to a lot of people, Edo, because you saw that when the change was made, and right before Paul Atkins came into his own with the SEC, they dropped a lot of lawsuits. I mean, I'm talking about some lawsuits, Edo, that we were like, okay, what's going to happen with whether it was the Hot Tua girl or whether it was Richard Hart? You know, I mean, these are cases that, you know, they were, you know, cracking many other exchanges, and they just dropped them. It wasn't like, well, we're going to drop them, but we're still going to look into what they did. That's the part that's I think frustrating to so many people, is that, look, we know that we know XRP is not a security. We know that this thing is long and gone, but it's still just, and so many people feel like because it's lingering, is that manipulation? I don't know if it is or not, but what I do know is that this case was for 4 years. There's so many little details that they've got to get ironed out. But what I do feel, Edo, is that we're at, you know, the last time me and you talked, XRP was struggling between 40 and 50 cents. That's how long it's been since me and you've been live. Today, brother, it seems like $2 is a new 50 cents. It's crazy. So even if it drops to 190 like it went to 40, it's right back up over $2 again. So I don't know about you, but I got goosebumps right now even talking to you, because, you know, our last conversation was, will it ever get back? You know, not will, once it gets back over $1 or $2. And here we are. That's the new 50 cents. So, man, I'm so stinking excited about the possibilities and everything that's going on. Yeah, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, especially for people who went heavy on XRP, that can already be life-changing. If you got the opportunity to buy at 40 cents, you compare now versus BTC, XRP is still up 300%. And honestly, we're just getting started. Here I have on the screen, Brad Garlinghouse. Have you seen this one, James?
I saw, yeah, I think I might have posted it on my thing, just the part that he said 1,000% or something like that.
Yeah, 1,000%, he said, but
wow.
It's about digital asset investor. He said, I know many people who got tattoos when they were young and regrets them because life changes.
That's right.
When someone with a Harvard MBA gets a tattoo after 50, they have thought it through and they know it's only going to change in a good way. Lock in. Brad Garlinghouse has zero doubt, and he answered 1000% in a very playful way.
Now here's what I'll say, Edo, in regards to what you said. You know, you don't hear Brad saying a whole lot. During the whole lawsuit, he was very, very careful about what he said. I don't know if I could have ever worked for Ripple. Like, I can keep a secret between me and my brother Edo, but something as big as 1,700 plus NDAs, all the things that they know, and they see that people are frustrated. But, you know, so it would have been hard for me to keep a lot of these things quiet because I want people to have hope. But it was amazing to me 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, when Brad Garlinghouse went on. I don't know if you remember that or you saw when him and I think him and Dave Schwartz was at some event, and he said over the next 5 years that XRP will capture 14% of Swift's volume.
14% of Swift.
Yes. I was like, oh my God. So when you do the math, Edo, like, you got a lot of haters out there for XRP. You got a lot of people that have all these opinions, but how do you hate and how do you doubt and how do you say no when the CEO is telling you 14% in 5 years? Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I think I got maybe a C in math, but if I take 14% and divide it by 5 years going to what, 2030, that's about 3% a year. My God. I mean, God, the flip of the light switch, Edo, could be phenomenal and life-changing, brother. You're talking about a $10 yacht party. Brother, I can't wait for it.
And the most insane part is that usually Brad Garlinghouse is very conservative. So the fact that he comes out there and drop this bombshell, 14% of Swift, that would put XRP price on the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, considering that he's also being conservative. By the way, I give credit to that video came from Nathan. He's a very good friend of mine. He came to Greece. He's from Australia. He was the one that answered the question to Brad Garlinghouse. And he's also the one that sent me that video of David Schwartz that we were talking before we came on the live. So I got that on the first hand. And I think it's fantastic to see that the SEC lawsuits coming to an end, and also the way that Ripple executives are communicating, that's also changing. It's really telling us that they have more freedom to really say what they think. It's clear that in the last 3-4 years, there was some sort of suppression that was not allowing them to communicate with us clearly. Even the fact, if you take the fact that Ripple always said that XRP was meant to be a reserve currency, right? If you go for the website back in 2014 until probably 15, you had Ripple openly saying that XRP is meant to be a world reserve currency, right? And then when the SEC lawsuit came out, they somehow deviated. Their spoken words were not openly saying that anymore. They also removed from the website, but their actions were still congruent with this initial vision of XRP being a world reserve currency. So all the alignment, the new partnerships, everything was still aligned with this initial vision, but they were not allowed to say. And now when they come out and say 14% of Swift, that's a confirmation that XRP is about perhaps to become the world reserve currency.
Well, would you agree to make a comment like that, Edo, that it couldn't be driven off of speculation? It's like when I heard that, first I got excited. Then I just sat back and I started thinking, why would Brad say something like that? Because like you said, as long as I've been in crypto since 2017, as long as I've been in this, I've always seen him be very conservative, watch what he says. He gives little hints here and there. But to say that must mean that you know something we don't know in regards to partnerships, those 1,700 NDAs, maybe ongoing conversations with Swift right now. Like, you wouldn't even mention Swift's name or say something unless you know something that we don't know. Now, the last time me and you talked, we had a 40-50 cents XRP. Today it's over $2 and some cents. Since then, Brad has had dinner with Trump. Brad has been on the right side of Trump at the crypto summit. Since then, I've heard they met several other times. Since then, Trump has gone on Truth Social and said that the strategic reserve will include XRP, ADA, Solana. Like, my mind is so freaking blown. And the thing that's exciting, Edo, and I know you're not here in the United States, but there's a time that there's this really dark, really thick cloud over the United States where, the SEC was no longer protecting consumers. We were once revered as, a nation of innovation. And now we've gotten back to that. And it seemed like the rest of the world's going, oh my God. And you know how it is with competition, Edo. If they see America bullish like this, they're going to be following suit. And I think that adoption and the fact there's probably a lot of backdoor talking right now with Ripple, with people who maybe turn their back or were paused and say, you know what, wait a minute, we don't want to be behind the United States. And I think once the ETFs come into fruition of some of these other things, I think the competition is going to send this thing to the moon. Edo, your thoughts on that?
Well, just to think, if you would say 1 year ago, the president of the United States would not only talk about XRP, but would also openly say that they want to make a strategic reserve. Second, that he went for dinner with Stuart Alderott and Brad Garlinghouse. You would say that's a fair tale. That's never happening. Yet this has already happened.
Right.
So you see the irony of how quickly this digital asset landscape is evolving, especially with XRP. I think the transformation is just getting started. Right now, with regulatory clarity is also on the talks that it's open doors for BlackRock. I have seen someone making a very intelligent comment that right now the gateways are open for financial institutions and also big funds like BlackRock, the Grayscales. So the situation is evolving very quickly. And I truly believe we're going to see a $10 XRP this year. I just keep getting more bullish signs. I know perhaps things are not looking so great for the majority of digital assets. When you look at the charts, just think about the OGs of crypto from the previous bull runs and go for Polygon, Atom, all that coins that exploded back in 2021. They are now on the sidelines. The charts are almost flat. And then you have XRP that it's still up 300%. And honestly, I think it's going to capture a huge fraction of the market cap of Ethereum as well. We know Ethereum Gate is a real thing. We know Ethereum is also an outdated technology. So perhaps the self-implosion of the entire ERC20 ecosystem is also going to fuel XRP adoption.
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about where we're at and how much has gone up since Trump came into office. But, Edo, that really has nothing to do with ETFs or the 1,700 NDAs or the lawsuit being ended. That was just the fact that when Trump became president, the optimism was that XRP and crypto would start seeing some benefits, or as far as some of the things that we expect. I really think that at the end of the day, XRP is just getting to a price where it should have been the whole time. I don't think we've seen a pump. I mean, because if you think about the lawsuit, where would we be at right now, Edo, if there was never a SEC versus Ripple lawsuit? So the price that we're at right now, that's not a pump to me. That's just auto correction, getting ready for what's getting ready to come. And I think that when you hear things like the train has left the station by what is it? I can't think of the lady's name right now, but and you think about the flip of the switch, my whole thing is, where could this thing go? You say $10. I think this thing is going to move really, really quickly, especially if something amazing comes out. I remember when I can't think of her name, Shannon Thorpe came out and she was talking about some of the things she heard in the banking industry that could catapult XRP to the hundreds of dollars. I mean, you're talking about so many different facets, whether it's institutional adoption, whether it's, you're talking about a swift of 14% that Brad Garlinghouse says, if that's going to happen 3% a year or all at once, which I think it's going to gradually happen. You're talking about ETFs, you're talking about all these different variables. Where do you think, and I know we don't talk a lot about it, but I mean, whether it's Jake Claver, whether it's you, whether it's Jimmy Valley, whether it's, Max Avery and all these brilliant minds, Versan, where do you think, once some of these things, especially when this thing happens at Judge Annalisa Torres, where could XRP end up in 2025? I think you went mute, Edo. I think you're mute, brother.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I totally agree. This is a new perspective. It seems to be an auto correction of the price. I mean, it's just at the price it should have been years ago. I think that's why it feels so insane. We got the opportunity for so long to buy XRP at 50 cents. It was just, I don't even have words to describe how incredible opportunity it was, given the entire scenario that was built around XRP. Now, yes, I do think $10 is going to be just the beginning. For me, it's an important number because I decided to organize the yachting party. I see some people are commenting. Anna, I'm going to put you on the guest list. She says she would join the yacht party when it is $10. So for me, that's an important but yet a symbolic value. However, I truly believe if we capture just 1% of Swift, it would be perhaps $20, perhaps $50. It's hard to make price predictions, but if you follow my content, you know that I truly believe I don't want to give special prediction here and say it's going to be this
Yeah,
amount,
yeah.
but I promise you guys, if you did your own research, you understand it's not going to stop at $10. $10 is going to be the tip on the iceberg. That's exactly how I see it.
Now, Edo, I want to ask this question. I'm sure you told me this before. When did you get into crypto? Was it like 17, 18?
It was 17.
Okay,
Yeah,
same,
17 when I first bought, I sold my car. I told you this story in the first time we did the live streaming. I sold my old Land Rover Freelander, year 2000. I was about 18 years old.
But see,
And
this is what's so amazing about what you just said. You sold your Land Rover in 2017.
yeah,
And I remember you telling me the story of how you struggled. You were just trying to get money any way you could, and you were trying to, put it here, put it there. And now you're living an amazing life. Obviously, you got a nice place. You can live anywhere. We talked offline. You can live anywhere you want. I see you taking these very nice trips. You came to the United States. You got all these things, and you're revered as one of the most brilliant minds in XRP. But do you remember a time, man, when XRP was, 17 cents, 12 cents? You remember when Bitcoin was like 3,500, 4,000? I mean, what does it feel to see the justice that we have right now? And then you look up, brother, and we're sitting at a 107 Bitcoin. I don't know why people feel like Bitcoin's the only coin that can go from less than a penny to 107,000. And XRP, with all the things that it has and how it was created by three of the developers from Bitcoin, which is, Arthur Britto, Jeb McCaleb, David Schwartz, they came over and said, we could do this better. Why people still have that doubt in their mind about XRP's potential when you're hearing Swift and all these things? I don't hear Bitcoin taking over Swift or taking a percent. I just don't understand the doubt, Edo. Can you explain that to me a little bit?
absolutely. And remember, James, we used it to do this comparison all the time when XRP was 50 cents. BTC was what, $60,000 or even $70,000?
Yeah.
And we were trying to explain people so much that even if BTC goes to $100,000, which was very possible back there, the thing is that you could do such better returns with XRP, right? If it was 40 cents, it goes to $2. You already outperformed the best case scenario for BTC, and that's indeed playing out. Now, it's absolutely a fact that I sold my car in 2017. And the big lesson here is that you should take some risks in life. And most importantly, we were talking before getting on the show that I think nobody's a tree. So if the situation is not optimal where you live, you can always move abroad. In my case, I have chosen to make a bold move. I moved to Greece, where I couldn't speak the language. I couldn't even read. They have a different alphabet. So it was a completely different reality for me, but Greece was much cheaper than Italy, where I am from, and then Portugal, where I used to live before. So the fact that I could sit here in Greece, rent a small studio for, I don't even lie, I was paying 250 euros per month. This back in when I came to Greece after the pandemic started to kick in 2020 or 21. All this period, I was saving a lot of money. And guess what I was doing? I was buying crypto. I was buying every single paycheck I had, I was putting on XRP. And this is just to encourage people that perhaps you said someone that you know left the United States to the Philippines, I think you mentioned, right?
Right.
To avoid selling digital assets. I think first is to understand you are not a tree. So if you want to change place where it's more cheap and where you can save more money and invest more and perhaps live better, that's also a good choice. Now, the second thing is, why wouldn't XRP be above $100 or $1,000 if you consider that BTC has none of the technical capabilities that XRP has as a bridge currency? Zero. It can't move money fast. It doesn't solve any real world problem. There's no adoption. You can't say that everyone on the planet would use Bitcoin. Otherwise, they could only perform 3 transactions on their lifetime. The network would become extremely congested. You don't have the same problems with the XRP ledger. So what is stopping XRP's price from being above $10 or $100, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's great. And you know, guys, here's what I love about, you know, crypto and this opportunity. You know, it's funny because while Edo's been talking, I've been kind of reading through the comments, Edo, and you know, I want Edo to kind of maybe touch on this too. I always say the greatest thing about this opportunity is anybody can do it, Edo, and the worst thing about this opportunity is anybody can do it. But one of the things that excites me about this is the fact that your story of selling your Land Rover, you sacrificed for a better tomorrow. You know, you had the belief, and look at the life it's created for you. Same thing with me and my wife, man. I mean, after 28 years in business, I told my wife, you know, after traveling the world doing all these different things, I said, just give me a year to figure this thing out, and I think it could change our lives. And man, Edo, it changed our lives. And you know, it's crazy because here I am, an ex-pro ball player, a father of 6 kids. You know, I've got kids doing so many different things. I'm in the United States. You are over there in Greece. You're, you know, 20-something-year-old guy. You know, and it's just crazy. Crypto's brought us together. It's changed both of our lives. It's changed so many of our friends' lives, like King Karan and many others. And so I say that to say this, guys. For anybody out there just being negative, I don't know why you're negative. You know, some of the comments in here are just crazy, and I don't typically even try to, because I think people who make comments like that are just kind of, either they don't get it or they're not where they want to be at, or whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of successful stories, man. There's so many people in this space that this has changed their lives, and me and my wife were one of them, and you, Edo. So I don't know if you want to make any comments on that, but yeah, it's definitely a game changer. And I think whatever we've seen up to this point is just the beginning. We haven't even seen, somebody was talking about early. I won't say that we're early, like Bitcoin was early at $1, whatever it was. But I think for XRP was still early, Edo. Your opinion? Because
I think
yeah,
I used to say buying XRP at $2 is the same as buying Bitcoin below $100.
I agree.
It's very comparable.
Yeah.
By the way, do you want to put this on the screen here? There is something very important that needs to be addressed. By the way, I just got this DM. It's somewhat, so be very careful, guys, with this application. It's called Horizon XRP Ledger. And this is Vet. I know him, he's a developer. And basically, if you use this application on the ledger, I don't really understand what type of application is it. I apologize. I just received the DM now, but this has to be addressed. So if you do this, you are literally sending full XRP account keys to your backend. So be very careful. This is apparently a scam that is happening on the XRP ledger. So don't interact with this application, okay, guys? And just passing the message which I got on a DM right now. Do your own research. I'm not saying it's 100% a scam, but I'm saying that Vet is a very well-known developer in the community, and he's telling people to be very, very careful with this application, okay?
Awesome.
Just passing the message here.
And in 28 minutes, Edo, we're about 4,500 people with us live. Can you do me a favor? Is there any way you could bring up that video that you posted? I saw it. I mentioned to you that Mikkel, shouts out to the Mikkel Army. Mikkel showed it this morning, talking about, went to your page and actually showed it. It's something that Joe Katz said. Can you kind of break that, show it, and then kind of break down what he means?
I'll also give some context why that's important. So let me share the screen. There we have it. So this took place in the same day that they asked Brad Garlinghouse about the Swift question that we mentioned in the beginning of the live, right?
Uh-huh.
So they didn't talk to each other. They didn't know that. I am pretty sure David didn't know that Brad Garlinghouse had answered the Swift question. So he was quite more conservative. We're going to watch the video, okay? But just to give a briefing, what happens is that when he was asked about how much percentage of Swift XRP would capture, I think in the next 5 years, David Schwartz didn't specifically answer that, but he gave us some hints. So let's watch it.
How much of Swift volume do you think that the XRP will get on board in the next 5 years? But there's a multi-trillion-dollar market in hedging commodities price shock. there's an enormous market where people have to get paid for commodities before or after they have to provide those commodities, and they want to protect themselves against fluctuation. I think the bigger market for that's in foreign currency, but you know. So why, let's say tokenization will take? Yeah, why would someone actually choose the XRP compared to other competitors we have? I think the XRP ledger's advantages are going to be the faster transactions. I think the more predictable transaction fees, the lack of smart contracts, which means you don't have all the security vulnerabilities of smart contracts. And hopefully there'll be a lot of liquidity to enable people to move between which assets they use to do that. But I think for many of those use cases where most of what's happening is off ledger, it almost doesn't matter that much what ledger it happens on. So it's going to be interesting to see what the actual competitive drivers are. Okay. You know, like a land registry is a good example. A land registry really is not going to interact that much with other things on the ledger, at least initially. So it almost doesn't matter what ledger it's on from the point of view of the registry. That makes sense. Yeah. And so I don't know what are going to be the drivers. I'm hoping that low cost, predictable transactions and not having the need to develop and manage and maintain smart contracts, better wallet integration. Yeah, the history of predictable, but it's hard to say because again, it's going to be very small things are going to make a difference. I think one thing that's going to be big in a lot of those use cases is auditability. Okay. And most blockchains are just very transparently and easily auditable, but some of them are more difficult. For example, Solana is just really difficult to audit because of its sharding features and the fact that it's moving so quickly and it has such a high transaction volume. I think those things will actually be disadvantages in this space because they do make it harder to audit what's going on. Privacy features will actually make it harder to audit and understand what's going on. So those things might be drivers, but it's hard to say. You know, it's going to be kind of somewhat arbitrary. There's not going to be any real, you know, reason to prefer one ledger over another unless the integration with other liquidity sources matters. For sure. So last question: how much space volume do you think that the XRP can onboard in the next 5 years? Well, I think you're going to see many hundreds of billions of dollars of tokenized real world assets.
Okay. Hundreds of billions of dollars in tokenized assets. He didn't directly answer what Brad Garlinghouse already told us. Okay. Brad came out and said 14% of Swift. Now, David was slightly more cautious, but hundreds of billions of dollars in real world assets going to the ledger, while simultaneously he was demolishing Solana blockchain in a very funny way, but also ruling it out. He's really making it clear that blockchains that are difficult to be audited, and we can talk about Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin versus XRP, and also I have to say XLM is also easy audited. So that makes the difference, and that's what he's telling us: hundreds of billions of dollars in tokenized assets. Now let's he has to say still
fairly quickly. I think it's for a dumb reason, but I'll take any reason. The reason is auditability. You know, in most of the big problem with auditing right now is if I hand you a bunch of records and I tell you to audit them, you can audit them and you can say, hey, these records are cool. David's doing everything right. The problem is, how do you know that I don't owe somebody some money or have something out there that I didn't provide to you in the records that you audited? There's no way to do proof of absence in like the TradFi space. And so the way companies have handled that is they use a third-party transaction like operator. So if I'm the company, I hire him to do all my transactions for me. And if you're the auditor, you don't go to me, you go to him. Right. And the theory is he and I would have to conspire to withhold things from you. And he wouldn't do that because he's very trusted and well-known and reliable. But there's a lot of problems with this. One of them is if he loses your trust, I'm screwed. The other one is I'm paying him a whole bunch of money, and profit margins in this business are razor thin. I mean, it's so competitive that a couple of basis points is a huge difference. And me having to do everything through him is a huge drag. If he screws up, I can't service my customers. He's going to charge a lot of money because he has a reputation that's at risk. That problem just completely disappears. You put it on a blockchain. Proof of absence is trivial on most blockchains. And on the XRP ledger, it's trivial to prove that my total exposure is this much. And you can do that continuously, right? If an auditor sends a request, if you send a request to him, I'm going to get a bill for everything he has to do to answer. Right? And you can't audit continuously because he's going to get very annoyed, right? But you can audit blockchains continuously. You don't need to use a third party to launder your transactions and build credibility with auditors. That's going to be the main, believe it or not, I know that's dumb, but that just, to these companies, that makes a huge, it's mind-blowing for them. And, you know.
So do you think the process will get?
Fantastic, right, James? What do you think of that?
Well, let me just ask you this, because that's you know, it gives me goosebumps, like like Brad talking about 14%. Let me ask you a question, Edo. Why? And I guess I kind of know this answer is why not everyone's a business owner and why everyone's not successful, and not why everyone won't be successful. I get it, right? I get it. But why is it so hard to believe an asset that went from under a penny, is now $107,000? And then you got these brilliant guys like Joe Katz, David Schwartz, who worked on the development of Bitcoin. This is documented. You know, him, Jeremy Allora, you know, and these guys. Why is it so hard for people to understand when you see Karma Carmichael, who just made this comment, 1,000 to 4,500? People don't realize that is a very small number. If you heard, what's the gentleman, Edo, that came out with the smiley? He came out with the emoji. He had two, who is it?
Arthur Brito?
Yeah. So Arthur Brito, again, one of the guys who was on the early development of Bitcoin as well. What? This guy came out of nowhere in what? How many years? 13 years or 14 years or something like that? He made no post, and all of a sudden, what did you take from that, Edo?
Well, it's a lot to unpack.
Why now? Why now?
I mean, Arthur Brito is not only one of the 3 architects of the XRP ledger, he was also in charge of the first Bitcoin exchange in the United States. I think it was called Bank B or something like that. So these 3 people, Jed McCaleb, Arthur Brito, and David Schwartz, from my understanding, they have the whole capabilities to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay,
Wow,
I will not go too deep on that, but this is a theory of mine. But what we have evidence is that they are, in fact, early Bitcoin developers that came out with a better product, which turns out to be the XRP ledger that solves basically one by one every single one of BTC flows. Now, the fact that Arthur Brito, you can feel it's on the, you can feel this energy right now. Things are coming out of shadows. You have Arthur Brito comes out 14 years later. Brad Garlinghouse, it's all bullish. I mean, he seems to be one of us there talking on X right now. So there is definitely a change of energy. I think we're coming out of shadows right now, and I would argue that with the SEC lawsuit ending, it's going to be, as he said, is a new chapter. And I think from now, everything is going to be different. I think from now, the world will start to understand what happens next. And the ones that don't take actions, they will be crying later.
Well, you know, so crazy. First of all, let me say this. Shouts out to Roger Metzger for the amazing. I call what people give super chats, Edo, I actually call them virtual hugs. So that's just the way I am. So shouts out to Roger for the virtual hug. Also, shouts out to Crypto Clay. These 2 guys, man, love these guys with pieces. Thank you guys for everything that you guys do. Now, I want to say this, and I want your comment on this. Everybody was so excited. Now, remember, I've never heard of Dogecoin having a lawsuit. I've never heard of the SEC going after Dogecoin. Would you agree with that, Edo? And Dogecoin got a lot of popularity because Elon Musk started talking about it. He got on Saturday Night Live and everything else. We have the freaking president of the United States of America, the most powerful man in the world, probably one of the most powerful men in the world, definitely the most powerful man in the United States, and one of the most respected as well, that has not only met with these guys at Ripple, regarding XRP, but he actually tweeted the first coin on his Truth Social. Now, they had him backpedal, Edo, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Trump doesn't make Trump. It's not like Trump has, and I apologize for anyone that has this, but it's not like he has Tourette's. It's not like he just went out and said XRP, like, you know, like just some crazy thing. No, he knew what he was posting. He knew what he was doing, and some people, probably David Sack and some other people, got with him and say, hey, wait a minute, wait. Let's not do that right now, because if you do that, that damn price is going to get to spike, and we need to get as much as we can. And so, Edo, just your thoughts on the fact that I remember when me and you met last time at 40, 50 cents, there's people going, man, how come we can't get Elon to talk about XRP? How come we've got the world right now. Matter of fact, we've got it where I believe Congress passed where now banking institutions here in the United States, I don't know how it is where you're at, they're actually able to offer crypto services to their customers. Edo, I've had 5 bank accounts shut down from 17 to, through the whole lawsuit. They were shutting my accounts down because I was dealing with crypto. So to be in a position that we're in now, what do what's your thoughts on that? Just the fact that, we were hoping for some, but this is bigger than just a face or someone mentioned it. Institutional adoption and all these other variables that we have in place with XRP. Edo, what happens when we see, I just want to ask you this, what happens when we see $100 XRP? Is it easy? Would you agree that it's going to take more time to get to 100 than it'll take from 100 to get to 1,000?
Yeah, that's nicely said. Well, so let me rephrase someone that is on the screen right now. Is David Schwartz.
Okay.
Institutional adoption will come before mass adoption. I'll say it one more time.
Yeah.
Institutional adoption will happen for XRP before mass adoption. So I truly believe there is a sense on why we haven't seen the price to spike substantially. Yes, we did a 4 or 5x, but we yet didn't do a 50x or 100x. And I think they are trying everything they can so that the financial institutions can position themselves before the masses. And that means that they get the opportunity to still go on exchanges and buy XRP at $2.
Right.
Honestly, it's not so simple as it seems because they can't just go there and market buy all the supply.
Right.
They have to do this gradually, perhaps buying 1, 2, 3, 5 million per day. Now, if you do this for a consistent period of time, let's say 1 year, you manage to grab a huge portion of the supply. That's why they don't suddenly market price. But once the supply shock kicks in, once there's no more XRP available at exchanges, once the NDAs, as someone says in the comments, comes out of shadows, I think it's going to be a quantum jump. I think we can teleport above $100. That's going to happen when there's the supply shock. I think that's the key factor that's going to skyrocket XRP price.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think that, somebody had made a comment. I think it was maybe Joe Budai. I don't know. There was a comment that was up here where, see if I can find it. He was talking about how he held on to XRP for so long. And I'm trying to see if I can find the comment. What he's saying, Edo, is that, and I heard Linda P. Jones and I heard Molly Elmore both say this, that everything, I understand how upset we are. I understand that a lot of us realize the level of corruption that happened with the SEC versus Ripple. You can easily go see that at fruitionproductions.com, which is it's called the rig from the start, the war against crypto. But I also believe, Edo, and I want your opinion on this, it's probably one of the greatest blessings that a lot of people didn't take advantage of. I'm talking about, if you look at the fact that we had, not purposely, but we had an opportunity to snatch up as much XRP, Edo, between, below 50 cents for so long because of this corrupted lawsuit. And yet so many people, Edo, they didn't go out there and they didn't see it. They kept complaining. They kept looking at the fact that it took so long. They compared it to all these other coins that had a bunch of zeros. And I do believe, and this is why I want your opinion, I do believe it's going to be either one of the greatest, it's going to be the greatest story in some people's life, like yours and mine, or one of the biggest regrets, Edo. Your opinion on that?
100%. There is 100% chance that these people will regret ignoring XRP at $2. I know there's a lot of people who are thinking, oh, but it was for so long time, 50 cents, 60 cents. I would just wait for the dip.
Yeah.
The dip might never come. I like to use the comparison. If you had the opportunity to buy BTC at $10, but let's say you missed this opportunity, wouldn't you buy it at $20? I would work my ass off so I could afford more BTC at $20 because I know, knowing what I know today, that's life-changing money. That's why my advice is don't wait for a dip. It's like, don't wait to buy XRP. Just buy XRP and wait. I think that's the most sincere advice I can give to everyone watching. It's not a financial advice, but that's what I truly believe in my heart. And I think the fact that we are up 300%, as exactly as James said, it just has auto-corrected. It just went to the prices as it should be. There is someone doing a phenomenal work on X. It's called XRP Wallets. He tracks down how much XRP is available for retail. He estimates, and you can see that on the blockchain, that is less than 1.5 billion XRP that are left in exchanges. That is in the hands of not only exchanges, but in cold wallets as well. So it's a very tiny amount of the XRP supply, considering that about, I don't have the updated statistics, but probably about 40 billion, 45 billion, or 43 are in escrow right now. And he has been tracking down the wallets of Chris Larsen and also of Arthur Britto. And you know what's interesting? Ripple is now relying on the founder's wallet for on-demand liquidity. So a lot of the transactions are being made with XRP that belong to the founders because there is not available supply. So they are now touching the founder wallet. So you have literally XRP coming out from Chris Larsen wallet, traveling all the way to exchange, and from there hitting on-demand liquidity. How insane is that?
Yeah, here's the thing, and I say this very kindly. I say this very, very. I'm going to bring up this just about. I think it's Morning Staple. And by the way, Morning Staple, great comment. Just a while ago, you commented about Edo's hair being phenomenal. I agree with that. A lot better than mine. Okay, so so that being said, he says XRP will dip big time, so the big guys can buy your bags. Now, I don't know if I agree with that, and the reason that I don't agree with that because, and I'm not saying that they're not trying to take your XRP. I do believe that's the case. I believe that's very accurate. But I believe that back in the day, again, from the time that me and Edo last talked, anything that happened with crypto, Bitcoin, or other assets, it seemed like anything negative, XRP would dip harder than anything else, right? I mean, way hard, because it was still the lawsuit. There was all these things going on. XRP is a lot stronger today than when it was back then. And I think that as these things, it's kind of like when you look at Bitcoin and go, one day I'm going to get a $30,000 Bitcoin. I wouldn't bank on it. I mean, I'm not saying that it will and won't happen. I'm just saying, now, could there be things that cause that? Look, anything can happen. But I just think that as you start getting institutional adoption, the ETFs, when you start getting those 1,700 NDAs, when you start getting all these things happening, Edo, I just think there's going to be barriers that are going to be created where you will never at some point see a $10 XRP. I mean, if you're talking about one day getting into the thousands, think about Bitcoin. What's the likelihood of Bitcoin going to $5 right now? So the point I'm trying to make is, when I look at XRP, and this is not a comparison because you can't compare a Ford Model T to a Lamborghini. You can't do that. So I'm not even going to try to compare Bitcoin to XRP. I believe it was created in every way to be better than Bitcoin. But I do believe there's going to be things that come out where you'll never see XRP retrace down to $10 or $20 or $50. And Jake Claver says something very, here's the thing. Jake Claver said something very similar to what you just said, Edo. There's going to be a time. Don't be shocked that there's a time when you look on an exchange and you can't buy XRP anymore. Don't be surprised if you look up and realize that the XRP you hold is so scarce. Right. And so I just think when that scarcity hits, man, the price rises. I think especially when they start offering all these different things that they're talking about, yield and all these different things. So I just think right now we have to be aware that this is a moment to snatch up, even at $2. Yes, not 50 cents, but at $100, you're going to wish you got a $2 XRP. You're going to pray. Some people give up their left hand and say, oh my God, if I could only go back to that $2, and it's not going to happen. And I just think people lose sight of that everyone sits back and goes, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish, where was I doing? What was I doing when Bitcoin was $1 or $10? Well, here you are at a $2 XRP. And a lot of times, Edo, we don't recognize the moment because we can't believe in the vision of what's actually happening. And so one of the things I've learned in my life coming from poor welfare, the ghetto, being raised up poor, Edo, is I realized I had to listen to people who were where I wanted to be in life and not people that were where I was at. Because I had a lot of uncles, Edo, that talked about life and money, but they were broke, bro. They were poor. Some of them didn't even have a car, and they were trying to give me life advice. So when you see all these brilliant, smart people, the president, Brad Garlinghouse, and all these brilliant people talking about XRP and all these institutions. I mean, God, how many people, how many acquisitions have they made? Edo, I tend to follow success. I remember a long time ago, this guy by the name of Jim Rohn says, success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. Follow successful people and you'll be successful. So that's just kind of my take on that. Your mindset on what I just said.
Yeah, first I have to put my glasses here, guys. Maybe, yeah, it blocks the blue light of the screen. So I have these lights here. They were literally frying my eyes. So my apologies. I know it doesn't look so beautiful, but anyways,
Those glasses make you. Those are like success. That screams success. I like it.
I like to protect the eyes so that I don't need to wear glasses in the future. That being said, there's a lot to unpack there, James. The first thing is that the likelihood that XRP one day, let's say when it goes to $100, you're probably never gonna see XRP at $10 again.
No.
Another thing is when institutional adoption is in place, the whole scenario is gonna change. The opportunity also is gonna be substantially over. So I don't think we're gonna see a 10% price fluctuation in the same day, or a 30% or a 50%. I think that's gonna be more like the S&P 500. I think that's going to happen when institutional adoption is in place. Perhaps you're going to see a 1 or 2% drop. So that's clearly going to be over for retail investors in the future. So you do have to position yourself before the big boom. And what I mean by that, before $50, $100, or $1,000. Now, the final message I have that is very important is that I think there will be so let me rephrase it. I think if we have a correction in the markets for XRP, let's say some black swan event happens that affects the whole crypto markets.
Right.
We have learned this cycle that XRP recovers always very fast. Do you guys notice it? It's at $2, perhaps drops at $1.95 minutes, and then boom, it's back up. In the past, it would take days to move from 50 cents to 58 cents. I remember I was excited sometimes at 60 cents. And right now, 10 cents moves like this. It's literally in the blink of an eye. That being said, if there is a correction in the markets, if some, let's say, war news breaks out, and these things happen in crypto, make sure you have buy orders, because you will not have the time to buy XRP cheap. Somehow I had this vision that, I don't know, I had this, I think, in a dream or something. And by the way, I had some prophetic dreams in the past. One was about SHX. But I think we're going to see one time XRP to drop at 75 cents, but that's going to be seconds. It's going to be a week. You know what? It's a week in crypto, just momentaneously, and then it's going to be back to $1.50 or $1.60. So if you don't want to miss opportunities in crypto, make sure you have buy orders. Maybe you want to grab XRP at cheaper prices. Make sure you have a buy order, because if that happens fast, you're not going to be able. Just like a lot of people missed on buying below $2, which was 4 or 5 days ago. It happened twice. I loaded my bags when I saw below $2. Whoa, that's free money. I bought. Already up substantially. It didn't take long. So make sure to act fast. That's one advice I have.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I love it. Great stuff, man. So yeah, definitely thanks for the 62,000, almost 60, I'm sorry, 62,000. So that'd have been amazing. The 6,300 people that are live with us right now on X and other social platforms. Appreciate you guys in a major way. Guys, it's always a pleasure. If you guys have any questions for Edo, please let us know. I want to look on here and see if there's any other topics here that we can discuss. Edo, let me see if I have anything that you have on your page you want me to bring up. By the way, guys, if you guys get a chance, do me a huge favor. Edo's doing some things right now to get his, let's see here, where's it at? Do me a favor and go support my brother Edo on his YouTube channel, which is on fire right now, Edo Farina. It's at Edo Farina XRP, guys. His content is absolutely phenomenal. He's done some incredible things with my buddy over at Black Swan Capitalist Versan. Make sure you guys go check it out. Also, if you guys get a chance, go over to his X page. That would also be, let's see here, at at Edward_Farina, at Edward_Farina. This brother's X page is on fire, 165.6 thousand subscribers, guys. Make sure you guys go over and support my brother. It's right here. There it goes. So at Edward_Farina, incredible content. One of the most sought after guys right now in the industry. Definitely appreciate him for all he does. Also, if you guys get a chance, do me a huge personal favor. You guys can see where I've had Edo on several times back in the past. Crypto for Life with your boy James, aka 68J. If you guys want to know about
old days when XRP was 50 cents. I'm getting nostalgic.
Exactly, right. So I mean, we have some incredible interviews, guys, here. I've had Edo, I've had Versan, I've had some of the most incredible interviews since I've been in this for well, I've been in this since 2017, but we started the show about 2 years and 7 months ago. It's been an incredible journey. And if you guys don't mind, go over and check out our Crypto for Life page on X. It's let's see if I can actually find that here. Where's that? So here it is here, guys. It's at James_68J. Guys, again, and remember with me and Edo both, please be careful, guys. There's a lot of scammers out there trying to take your money. Edo just brought up a very, very good example that will never reach out to you guys. So please, guys, be careful in all you do. Anything?
I have 2 comments that I want to answer. One,
Okay.
I'll be quick, but he's asking me about XLM.
Uh-huh.
It's my second largest holding, and very quickly to break it down. Same creators, basically. The technology is very similar. You have Jed McCaleb, one of the architects of the XRP ledger. He leaves from Ripple, proceeds to create Stellar, and the blockchain is Stellar. The currency is XLM. And from my view, the reason for that being is that they needed to bypass the competition laws in the United States. So you couldn't have one Ripple that would capture the entire segment of the market. So they divided that. So you have Ripple for bank-to-bank transactions, is more for financial enterprises, and then you have XLM is the mode to bank the unbanked. So that comes from peer-to-peer transactions, more retail-driven, just like they build in Ukraine, CBDC on top of Stellar. So it's also phenomenal technology, one of the best assets, very undervalued. Stellar, I think, is 25 cents right now, which is ridiculous. And another one is about Algorand. If you follow me, you know that I have been putting out Algorand content very often. Algorand is trading at, let me check Algorand's price, but I have a saying. It's my new saying. It says, buying Algorand now is like buying XRP at 50 cents. So I also Algorand is 18 cents. 18. It's extremely, extremely cheap. They tokenizing real world assets on chain on Algorand. All-time high is more than $3. It's $3.30. I have been following very closely with Algo. They have some fantastic developments, and one of the things is that they deliver finality in just 3 seconds, like XRP. So transactions are also very, very fast.
Wow.
And this blockchain never had a downtime since its entire inception in 2019. So it's up and running 24 hours per day. That's why it's one of the best choices out there for financial enterprises. So they tokenize heavily on Algorand. It's developed by MIT genius Silvio Micali.
Yep.
So I definitely recommend everyone do some research on Algorand. Is not a financial advice, but is one of my biggest bets, considering that the chart is just flat now. It's literally 18 cents.
Wow.
I don't think you can get it cheaper than this. Honestly, they're giving away for free. So this is one advice I have. It's not a financial advice. It's just
I mean,
from my research.
Edo,
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but good God, I mean, the low of this coin was not even a penny less. So how cheap can you get this thing?
Yeah, it's at bear market prices. I'm telling you. And
wow.
I'm watching very closely what Algorand Foundation is building and all of the tokenized real world assets that are already on chain. You know, they tokenized just in the last year more than 500,000 airline tickets with a partner they had. It was called TravelX.
Okay.
500,000 airline tickets on Algo. So it's absolutely phenomenal. They're going to release a new roadmap It's coming, I think, next week. So yeah, do some research on Algorand. This, I don't think it can get any cheaper than 18 cents. It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
last bull run in 2021, it got up to was it $2.14, almost $2.15 last bull run.
Well, for weeks, I remember that it was always above $1.50, $1.20, $1.80. So
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely has a lot of potential. On the short term, it might even move faster than XRP. Who knows? But
Wow.
of course,
Wow.
on the long term, my top choice is XRP. But have in mind, there is unlimited potential for Algorand.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of assets, guys. I mean, I won't say a lot, but there's going to be several assets that do very well, especially in this institutional or a utility run. It's going to be huge, and I think Algo is right up there with XRP, XLM, and others.
Yeah, HR and SHX and Velo. Yeah, these are some of my top picks. I always look for the technology, what they are delivering in terms of real world partnerships, tokenomics. So
Now,
always
I want to ask you this, Edo, and you don't have to get too much into it, but I know that you and Versan, man, you guys are deep divers into a lot of the acquisitions and partnerships that Ripple has made. We've seen a lot of these different acquisitions, but one of the most recent was the one with Hidden Road. And I know me and you haven't talked since then, but what do you make of these acquisitions? Why is Ripple positioning themselves so well with this? And then also, if you can cover, I know that there were some rumors at one point Ripple was trying to acquire, should I say, USDC. And then I saw some things that just came out talking about how RLUSD is actually in a better position than USDT and USDC with certain things. If you don't mind talking about some of those acquisitions and RLUSD and you know, what that could mean for the for Ripple and the community as well.
Hidden Road is basically the largest Web3 acquisition ever. I think they bought that. I don't remember the exact amount.
Like 1.2, 1.3, I think it was.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's one of the biggest, always all-time purchases. So that's a bridge between the traditional finance and blockchain technology. And of course, Ripple is filling the gap. That's why they acquired Hidden Road. Now, the fact with real stablecoins, so RLUSD, is that we have seen that Tether dominance is falling apart, and right now with MiCA regulation, it's not available in Europe right now. So you can, if you send me USDT, I can still receive it on my end here, but once it hits any exchange that is compliant with MiCA regulation, you are then forced to swap Tether USDT to something that is MiCA compliant like USDC. And what's going to happen next, that's my speculation, is that eventually the liquidity of Tether is going to migrate towards real stablecoin. That's how I see it. I think Tether is not compliant. They have a shady history, to not put it in worse words. I don't want to go too deep on Tether right now, but they have a shady past, and I think it's a natural transition towards an asset that is backed one-to-one to the US dollar, like RLUSD. I think it's a far better and safer alternative than Tether.
Love it. Anything else you want to share, brother? You know, this has been amazing getting back with you. I've seen a lot of people saying, good to see you guys back together. Like Edo said, we'll definitely be running this back again. I've enjoyed this very much so. Hopefully you guys have seen some value in this content. Anything else that you want to add to what we've already said, or any comments that you want to address?
Yeah, my final comment is just be careful with scammers. We're not going to ask anyone for money. Make sure to verify the account, the verified badge on X, for example. And just don't send any money for scammers. They even using AI to impersonate ourselves. So be very careful.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I agree with you with that wholeheartedly. And so, guys, definitely thank you guys. Almost 7,000 people in right around an hour right now. Appreciate you guys in a big way. We'll definitely be going live. For those of you guys who have been following my show, Crypto for Life, I've had about 4 days that I didn't go live, and then I went live one day, and then another 4 days. My sons were down for 2 weeks. We've got a lot of things going on right now. I just funded. I'm one of the biggest funders and executive producers, along with my friend Michael, of a movie. So we've got a lot of things going on. Our movie's already started. We're filming at Edo. I'm so excited about that right now. They're going to be mentioning crypto and some of the things that we're working on right now. So That's kind of my background. This is my 4th movie that I've been a part of. We got a lot of things going on right now. So really, and this, guys, it's so funny because when you look at the things that we're doing, when you look at the things, whether it's movies, whether it's Edo out there talking about yacht parties and everything else, or me and my wife that have, I won't say retired, but we've been in a different position financially for the last 5 years, all because of crypto. So all I'm telling you guys, and the last thing I'm going to say, guys, is just believe. When you don't believe and you have doubts, do your research, guys. This is life-changing. It doesn't take $100 XRP to change your life. It doesn't take $1,000 XRP to change your life. I was very fortunate to get in early, but I can tell you life-changing opportunities are there, guys. Make sure you embrace it. Make sure you understand and you believe in what you're investing in. So with that being said, guys, the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Edo Farina, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you guys for being here. We'll appreciate you guys. Until next time, it's your boy James, aka 68J, and my brother Edo Farina. We're out.
Pleasure to be here, James. Hopefully we're gonna meet each other before Las Vegas, perhaps in the yachting party in Mykonos, and that's a sign XRP is above $10. If not, well, we're gonna see each other in Las Vegas, and that's more opportunities to grab some cheap XRP at $2, right?
Well, XRP Las Vegas is not till 2026. And for those of you guys that didn't catch what Edo said, Brad Kimes had a phenomenal event. It was absolutely incredible. I think, I don't know if it was quite 2,000 people, but somewhere around that area. And then we had a sold out event after that. And we had every big name that you can think of was there. Even Stephen Neroff, I don't know if you saw, he was there as well, and some other big names. And then John Deaton called me or contacted me right after this. Said, Jay, something came up with his daughter. He goes, but next year, I guarantee you, also Eleanor Terry and many others. So next year is going to be, and he told me, he said, you can drop my name because I'm coming. He said, you can advertise it. So I've actually got it on my I never like saying stuff unless I can verify, but it's actually in my DMs here. So I'm really, really excited about next year, guys. XRP Las Vegas Meetup 2026 is going to be absolutely incredible. And I can tell you, not only will I be there and all these big names that you've seen, the Zach Reckers, the Mickles, these big names that were there, Linda P. Jones and others, but Edo Farina will be there. Him and King Karan told me, he said, Jay, we're coming next year, but I am praying and I am hoping that we see a $10 XRP first, because I want to go to where Edo's at first, and I want to hang out with him before XRP Las Vegas next year. So definitely looking forward to that.
Would be amazing. Just let me answer one comment. I have to speak Spanish now.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, para Antonio. No está desaparecido Fran. Fran está de viaje, por eso no hicimos el Crypto Insights, pero nos vamos a ver el miércoles. Just someone was asking about, we have also live streaming in Spanish that we didn't do this week, because one of the participants was on a trip, so he was just asking. Yeah, this question. Fran is a friend of mine. He's from Spain.
I didn't know you were that fluent, brother. I knew that you did some things. I didn't know you were fluent like that. That's amazing.
Oh, in every language, brother. I speak many languages. So
wow, kudos to you, man. You see why I hang out with Edo. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys again, Edo. Thank you, my brother.
Guys, drop in the comments which country you are based on, so you help us with the algorithm. I mean, it's a lot of comments. Just drop your location if you are in the US, in Europe, which country you are. That's going to definitely help us with boosting the algorithm. So thank you, everyone. We're going to see you in the next episode.
Yeah, so I saw South Africa, so we definitely got some people from around the world that are in here. That's incredible.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, guys.
Nigeria, US. Oh, I love it.
From everywhere. Fantastic.
Wow. Love you guys. Love you, Crypto. Okay, Arizona, shouts out. Denmark, Lithuania. Wow. I'm going to take some time to read these here. Nigeria again. Orange County, California. Welcome, Ricky. Good to see you. Matter of fact, let me give some recognition. Ricky, I appreciate you. Crypto Clay. Antonio from, let's see, XRP Army Spanish. I love it. We got Samuel from Nigeria. Can you see these people's names, Edo? I'm not sure if you can.
From Nigeria. What's the name?
Anna, Lithuania. Wow.
Lithuania, that's nice. Lithuania, someone in Europe.
Michael, Denmark.
Antonio from España. Yeah, nice. Wow. California, Romania.
Argentina, Singapore. My God. Shouts out to Sylvia from Argentina, and shouts out to Jujak from Singapore. Pennsylvania. Shouts out to Carolyn.
I have a lot of subscribers that speak Spanish, because for years now we have been doing, it's called the Crypto Insights, and it's every Wednesday in Spanish. That's why.
Wow.
Yeah.
Germany, my gosh, Maria from Germany, good to see you. Wow, Pensacola, Florida, Crystal. Wow, guys. I mean, Romania, Void.
Bulgaria. Nice, nice. I have been to
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
Wow, New Jersey. I love it. New Zealand, Texas. Man, Bulgaria. That's Ivan.
Mark. That was a good one.
Portugal. Wow. I mean, you're talking about around. I love it. Dexter says I'm from Mars.
Yeah.
You're from Mars. Okay, I guess you'll be seeing Elon when he gets up there digging for more gold. UK, we got Mun in the house from UK. Portugal, good to see you. Texas, shouts out to Rusty from Texas. Dominican Republic, Samuel, good to see you. Australia, Mr. X, good to see you. Mark from Vancouver, Canada, good to see you, my friend.
Wow, people from all over the world, James. That's fantastic.
This is incredible, man. So, hey, guys, again, appreciate you guys. Thank you for all support. Edo, thank you, my brother, for your brilliant mindset. And we will see you guys again for watching. We'll see you guys again soon. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Until next time, it's your boy James, a.k.a. 68J, and my brother, Edo Farina, and Nicholas from Norway, and so many other people. Trinidad, my God, I guess I can keep going with this. But Chile, gotta love it. All right, guys, appreciate you guys. Until next time, peace.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.